Canadian citizens living outside the country can now take part in federal elections through a streamlined vote-by-mail process. Thanks to recent updates by Elections Canada, this initiative is designed to ensure that all eligible Canadians, regardless of their geographical location, have the opportunity to participate in the democratic process and have their voices heard in national decision-making. Previously, Canadians who had lived abroad for more than 5 years were not permitted to vote in federal elections. However, this restriction was struck down by the Supreme Court Canada, recognizing that citizenship, not geographic location, determines a person's right to vote. This ruling opened the door for a more inclusive approach to electoral participation, allowing Canadians living anywhere in the world to cast their votes, provided they meet certain eligibility criteria. To vote from abroad, Canadian citizens must be at least 18 years old on the day of the election and must have previously lived in Canada. Those who have never resided in Canada are currently ineligible to vote, even if they are Canadian citizens. This maintains the integrity of the electoral system by ensuring that voters have a direct connection to a specific riding in Canada. The process of voting by mail for Canadians abroad begins with registration through the International Register of Electors. This is a specialized list maintained by Elections Canada for Canadian citizens living outside the country. Interested voters can apply online or submit their applications by mail or fax. The registration process requires individuals to provide proof of their identity and past residency in Canada. Acceptable documents include the second and third pages of a valid Canadian passport, a Canadian birth certificate, or a Canadian citizenship certificate or card. Once an applicant is verified and added to the register, they will automatically receive a voting kit during every future federal election, as long as their registration remains up to date. The voting kit provided by Elections Canada includes a special ballot, a secrecy envelope, a return envelope, and clear instructions. Voters are expected to write the full name of the candidate they wish to vote for, as party names or abbreviations are not accepted on special ballots. They vote for a candidate in the electoral district where they last lived in Canada. If the name is misspelled or ambiguous, the vote may not be counted, so accuracy is essential. Once the special ballot is completed, voters must mail it back to Elections Canada in Ottawa. The ballot must arrive by the deadline, typically by the time polls close on Election Day in their riding of origin. Late ballots, even if postmarked before the deadline, will not be counted. Therefore, voters are strongly encouraged to account for international mail delivery times and send their completed ballots as early as possible. In some cases, voters may opt to use courier services to ensure their ballots arrive on time. This mail-in voting option ensures Canadians abroad are not excluded from one of their most fundamental democratic rights. Whether they are studying overseas, working on international assignments, serving in diplomatic roles, or retired in another country, Canadian citizens can now have a direct say in the country's leadership and policies. Elections Canada has emphasized the importance of making voting accessible while safeguarding the transparency, security, and fairness of the electoral system. The move to include Canadians abroad in federal elections reflects the evolving nature of citizenship in a globalized world. With over 1 million Canadian citizens living in countries around the world, this policy change significantly expands the electorate and fosters greater civic engagement. The process remains secure and transparent, ensuring the legitimacy of each vote cast from beyond Canadian borders. Canadians living outside Canada are encouraged to visit the Elections Canada website for complete information about registration, deadlines, document requirements, and how to properly fill out and return their ballots. Keeping personal information up to date in the International Register of Electors is essential to ensure the voting kit is delivered in time for each election. By participating in the federal election process from abroad, Canadian citizens uphold the democratic principles that define the nation. Voting by mail allows them to stay connected to their roots, influence public policy, and contribute to Canada's future, no matter where they are in the world. Hashtags 30. Canada Votes Vote by Mail, Canadians Abroad, Elections Canada, International Voting, Federal Elections, Democracy Matters, Civic Duty, Global Canadians, Vote from Abroad, Canadian Expat, Expat Voting, Vote Securely, Voting by Mail, Canada Election 2025 International Electors, Mail Ballot Election Participation, Voting Access, Citizen Rights Canadians Worldwide Voter Registration, Overseas Voting. Remote voting, Your Vote Matters, Democracy in Action election update, voter empowerment, Canada democracy, vote from anywhere. Let me know if you like this version adapted into a newsletter, blog, or script for video content.
Thanks for watching our video. Please hit the button and subscribe the channel.